Hello and welcome back. Yes, you're not seeing us separately on TikTok anymore right now. Me and Joel have finally sat down. Okay, the schedule's aligned. Rob Manfred gave me off.
Too
Okay, I
much is
had
going
plenty of
on, man.
yeah, too much is going on. But we've got a lot to recap. Joel, how have you been? Obviously, I've talked to you, but we haven't
Obviously.
talked on here in a while. You
No,
know?
yeah, it's been a good minute. I'm doing good. I mentioned to you this prior. Baseball wise, I did win a little bit of money.
Hey now,
Yankees last home game, so
hey now.
yeah, I'm doing okay. But
Yep,
football wise, yeah, I mean, we got a lot to talk about as far as yesterday went.
right. Due to my employment at the network of MLB, I cannot bet on baseball, and I have not been on baseball.
I
Don't
am
worry,
not.
Rob. We're good. No, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. I will not. You're not. I'm not giving you any advice. I'm not giving you
No, no,
anything.
no,
I can't
no,
do
I don't
anything.
want it.
Okay, football. That's a different story. But baseball. That's all you, brother. But we've got a lot of football to talk about. There were some big games on Sunday just yesterday. This is probably up tomorrow, but just
We're
yesterday we're not
focused
going to
on
be talking.
Monday,
Exactly, we're not really going to be talking about Monday Night Football because that's in a few hours, and I can't talk
right?
about games that haven't happened yet. And if I were to preview it, you would already know what happened by the time you saw this. So that's its own thing. But let's just get into some games. I mean, there were some stinkers. The Lions-Falcons game, the Browns-Titans game. I guess Deshaun Watson might be okay at football, but throwing the ball backwards 20 yards, no. He's cooked. That's for another day. The Bills destroyed the Commanders, but there's some games that really did matter. And we're going to start with the Chargers and the Vikings, a 28-24 victory for the Los Angeles Chargers, despite Brandon Staley committing a fireable offense that almost backfired. And the Vikings had the ball back and things did not work because Kirk Cousins, it was 1 o'clock Kirk. Usually 1 o'clock Kirk is like Joe
Yeah,
Montana. And things did not happen. Minnesota's now 0-3. Herbert went for 40 of 47, 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, to be fair, Kirk did have 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, that one pick. But I think the main takeaways is that Keenan Allen is still good at football. This Chargers offense is ridiculous. And Alexander Madison should probably apply to his local Wendy's. But this game was very interesting, Joel. I want to get your thoughts on the Brandon Staley decision, the total game. I mean, this was definitely one of the more interesting ones of the early slate.
oh, for sure. I mean, like when we were talking about like our previous TikTok videos, we've been uploading a lot of TikToks. I made a
Right.
top 5 list of coaches that I believe way too early, in fact, might end up in the hot seat. And Brandon Staley was number one because I'm like, listen,
Right there.
I'm s- I'm telling you right now, even though okay, yes, the Chargers won this game, it feels like a loss to me still because it's like I don't understand how you have this many weapons. How Keenan Allen, how many catches did he have? 18,
Keenan
something like that.
Allen. I'm messing with my lights here. Keenan Allen, let me get the final stats here.
I believe he had like 200
18
yards receiving.
catches, 215 yards. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, like, and you only, and like, that game went down to the wire. And I'm like,
Yes.
how did this game go down to the wire? This doesn't make any sense. You should have destroyed Minnesota.
Right.
Like, especially with, like, I mean, I know he came back, but Justin Jefferson went down kind of late. TJ
Right.
Hawkinson was dealing with a little bit of injuries. Alexander Madison, he stunk the bed again. Kirk Cousins, I mean, isn't it funny how Kirk Cousins has been like the one shining piece in this whole Minnesota Vikings
I know.
team 0-3?
Yeah.
And I saw this morning that, a lot of we're gonna talk about the Jets later, but
Yes.
it's been speculated, hey, you know what? Maybe you can trade for Kirk Cousins because everyone wants Kirk Cousins all of a sudden. Because it's like it seems like Minnesota, listen, they're 0-3, they're tanking. Like you're gonna be tanking at this point because it's like you're not coming
Absolutely.
back from this. And it's like, why keep Kirk Cousins? Maybe go around the league, go see who wants him. The Jets would definitely be a contender to want him. And I mean, I feel bad for Kirk Cousins. I feel bad for Justin Jefferson, seeing like your talent being wasted this year in this team. You're 0-3. You have no business being on a winless team at this point in the year. It makes no sense. It's just sad.
I saw something that was very strange. Or it wasn't strange, it was just kind of eerie. And it was basically the Justin Jefferson situation, right? It was a star
Right.
receiver in Minnesota, had wasted his talents.
Uh-huh.
The rumors are starting to go about this guy getting out of here, but the fans love him. And and then there was a picture of Stephon Diggs. It wasn't a picture of Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson. We had seen this before in Minnesota, and the quarterback was Case Keenum. It wasn't even Kirk Cousins. And the same thing is happening in Minnesota, where they had to lose a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball and just really everywhere. This receiving core is fine. They went out, they got TJ Hawkinson. Now they're getting Cam Akers. His team still wants to win, but how much do you want to win at this point?
Right.
How ready is his team to win? They're not. They're really not. They've got some players, but they're 0-3.
They do. Right.
And they haven't ran into easy teams, though.
Don't forget, this is a team that won 13 games last year, and they didn't change that much.
Not at all.
Really
defensively, they did. Defensively, they did change a good bit, but they've still had a competitive roster. Now, 0-3 is not like impossible to come back from. We understand that. This team isn't dead in the water. People saying that they should trade Kirk Cousins tomorrow doesn't make any sense. We've seen, there's a Alex Smith, Kansas City Chiefs team. They lost. They were like 1 in whatever, and they ended up making the playoffs that year. So it's not done. It's week 3 of the season. It's not even October yet. We haven't even started putting up the Halloween decorations yet. The turkey hasn't even thought about being carved yet. So there's still a lot of time left. Now, the Chargers, they only had 30 rushing yards the entire game. Josh Kelly was their leading carrier, and he averaged under a yard a carry. Josh Kelly, 11 carries and 12 yards. That was a Chargers leading rusher, by the way. We say Alexander Madison stunk. He had 20 carries for 93 yards. It's not a bad day. Obviously, the fumble situation.
They're clearly missing out Austin Eckler. They're clearly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and they won. They won.
And they won. Yeah, you're right.
That's the thing. So, yeah, this team's going to be interesting. I don't think that the jury's out on either of those squads. Obviously, Justin Herbert is Justin Herbert, and he heard everybody saying, oh, he's not an elite NFL quarterback. And he went through 400 yards. So that's done.
Yeah.
But the Chargers, I think both of these teams will be fine. I think it's time to maybe think about hitting the panic button, but not yet. We're getting there. Okay. I do want to take a sidebar. Jordan Love is very good at football. I think it's time to admit. We're going to touch on this Packers game. Packers are down quite a bit. Obviously, Derek Carr got hurt. You had to put in Jameis Winston, and people were, excited to see Jameis Winston, obviously, but concerned for Derek Carr, who maybe he's going to be week to week. We'll see where he goes. But the game is the game, right? Because we can talk about all the external factors, but the 18 points in the fourth quarter and Jordan Love coming back. I just have a quick question. Are you in, or are you still questioning about Jordan Love?
Oh, no, man, I'm in. Let me tell you something. This guy, I thought him not having Devontae Adams would affect him. He looks good.
Oh,
he looks really good. First of all, think about the mental toughness that it takes for you to come back when your team has not scored a point yet and you win the game in the fourth quarter. And it's like, holy cow. It's just like, are we seeing visions of 12 here in Lambeau Field? Brett Favre, there's just so much that I'm seeing in Jordan Love right now. It's like history is about to repeat itself for the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
It's looking like that.
It's absurd. And history had already repeated itself in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers following up Brett Favre, and now you've got Jordan Love. So it seems like Jordan Love is destined to win one Super Bowl and disappoint for the next 20 years. That's going to be fun in Green Bay.
There you go.
That's just
and he'll end up a Jet.
He'll end up a Jet. He'll maybe get hurt. Maybe he'll go to Minnesota after. Who knows?
At 37, he'll end up on the Jets. I guarantee it right there.
I think Jordan Love is fine. I think the Jordan Love story to me, obviously, I hope Jordan. I'm not a Packers fan, so I don't hope anything. But I don't know if Jordan Love's going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback or wherever. But he'll be fine. He's good. The guy's good at football. Okay, we can understand that now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting to see where they go. I think it's such a good story. It defends the points that I've been trying to make about NFL quarterbacks for probably my entire life now. Yes, even as a baby. No, but sit your quarterbacks for a year. I don't like starting quarterbacks week 1 of their rookie season. If you can put them in the teams that put them in situations where they can sit for 3 years, they can sit for however long. Jordan Love came out ready to play. If he played week 1, he's not in the NFL anymore. He's in the XFL. He's playing for the Battlehawks. Okay.
A guy who's barely played. You look at him out there, he looks like the most experienced one there.
Exactly. And look at all the rookie NFL quarterbacks. Played. Look at all the second-year NFL quarterbacks that haven't had the opportunity. Look at what Geno Smith did as well. Geno Smith is a reliable starter in the NFL now. Teams are would love to have Geno Smith because he had time. He had time to sit. He didn't work with the Jets because that roster stunk and he got thrown out there. But now Geno Smith is a dog. So that's just my storyline. However, then you just go look at CJ Stroud. None of that matters anymore, right? And we go to this Texans-Jaguars game. The Texans and Jaguars are 1-2.
That's a dog right there.
That guy can play. I was a big I don't like Ohio State quarterbacks. I'm usually not big on them given the track record. But when that happens, one guy has to break the mold. And CJ Stroud might just be breaking the mold when it comes to Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL. Yes, it's 3 games. Yes, they're 1-2. But they just went and took down Jacksonville And I still am not completely sold on these Texans and CJ Stroud. I mean, I'm much bigger of a fan of CJ Stroud than I was when he got drafted, and Will
Hmm.
Anderson looks good as well. But to me, this feels like more of a Jaguars story than it does a Texans story to me, because these
Really?
Jaguars had, I mean, these Jaguars were expected to be a lock for the division. Right now, the Colts are winning the division right now, which is dumb. But to me, this seemed like it was the Jaguars' division to lose. I don't think anybody would disagree with that statement. The Jaguars were supposed to be this lock for the division, just like the 49ers in the NFC West, right? But now they look bad. They don't look, oh, they've got to put some, they look bad,
They
these
don't. Yeah.
Jaguars. I mean, Trevor Lawrence hasn't played well at all this season. They
Mm-mm.
barely could score against Kansas City. They don't look good at all. This isn't the team that we saw. And the thing is, this team improved from last year,
Right.
and they don't look good. It's like Doug Peterson the year after the Eagles won the Super Bowl all over again. I don't know where this Jaguar team needs to go. Yes, I know it's early in the season, and I still think the Jaguars are going to put it together, but they don't look good.
I will say on at least on the Texans side, I I'll be the first to admit I know a lot of people were not high on CJ Stroud. I will admit right now I was wrong about CJ Stroud.
Yes, we're wrong.
I did not think he was going to be. I don't want to say I didn't think he was going to be good. I did not think he was going to be this good this quickly. No
Not at
shot
all.
did I
Not even
think that
close.
that would happen.
I thought the
So,
Texans could be looking for a quarterback in 4 years.
oh
I
right.
mean, I did. I've said these things.
But
I have said these things. I'm not going to deny. I said these things.
one of the things I noticed, especially in their first game against Indianapolis, now they lost this game, but
Right.
I saw something in this defense that I did not see last year.
Absolutely.
I like you saw the spark that they had. You saw like everyone was excited. Everyone wanted to be. Everyone looked like they wanted to play for D'Amico Ryan's. Everyone looked like they wanted to. Every single tackle, they were jumping on each other, going nuts, going crazy. Because it's like already, it's like wow, everyone thought that we were going to be terrible, and it's like we're actually being pretty competitive. And then
Yeah.
now, I mean, what they're 2-1 now, right? Or are they
One
one
and
and
two.
two?
They're 1 and
They're one and
2.
two. It feels like they're
Yeah.
2-1 because
It does. Yes.
because the way that they're feeling right now, it's like, oh my God, like you look at the Texans right now, the Texans look like how Jacksonville looked last year.
Exactly.
That's how I would view it. And I mean, on the Jacksonville side, again, I like you said, I do think that it's going to get better. I do think it is. Now, me personally, I have Travis Etienne in a couple fantasy football leagues. I'm a little concerned,
Of
but
course.
not
You have
that
to be
concerned.
concerned. 19 carries, 88 yards,
Yeah.
mediocre day. Right. You
Yeah,
want
it's
more.
just mediocre, man. That's all. That's summed up these first three games of Jacksonville, just pure mediocre. Because
Right.
it's like, man, like you're right. Because you go throughout that whole the trade for Calvin Ridley, and it's like, holy cow! I mean, this team was just like a game or two away from the Super Bowl. Keep that in mind. A game or two away from the. It was 2 games from the Super Bowl, and it's like you added Calvin Ridley now. Now you're adding like oh my God, like how is this team gonna lose? How's this team gonna lose that division? And now we're kind of witnessing it right before our eyes, kind of like some other teams in the league that, have been a little disappointing. We'll get to that later. But I mean, it's you're right. It hasn't looked good, but at least for me, I do think it'll get better.
Right. And speaking of teams that are disappointing, I think you know who I'm going to next. And it's
Miami.
it's the most it's the most disappointing thing I've seen in football. Yeah, period. It's the most disappointing thing I've seen in football ever.
Colorado's just having a rough weekend,
Rough
man. They,
weekend.
they, they had a rough weekend.
One of my favorite states that I've ever been to, Colorado, has been suffering for sports. They sacrifice so much for that Avalanche Stanley Cup. Okay.
Oh
And
my
they've gotten
God.
all the buzz with Colorado and Deion Sanders. I think they'll be
Right.
fine. And I said on here, I said on Break Panel that they were I was like, they're not going to compete in that game against Oregon, and they didn't compete. But if you told me that there would be a bigger gap in the Dolphins Broncos score and the Colorado Oregon score, I would say, have you ever watched college football in your life? 70 points on your
Oh my
head.
God.
70 points. Can we emphasize that? Can we just give it a moment to breathe?
How do you
70 points.
how do you talk how do you look at your players after that performance? How do you talk to the media? I don't
And Sean
if
Payton didn't do
if
well
that
talking to
was
the media.
If that was me, I would have not even gone up on that podium. I would not even done that.
No, you have to. You
I,
have
I
to
give me the
because there's a
fine. I am
all
not
right.
talking to the. Give
No,
me the
you have
fine.
to
I'm
though
not
because
talking.
there's a season left to go. There is a
That's
whole season left to
crazy.
go. You have to get
I
on that podium and say we still
I
want
would
we
have,
still want to play football.
if possible, I probably would have given it a day or something because it's like, oh my God. You saw, I mean, did you see the look in Garrett Bowles' face?
Oh
Did
my
you just see?
goodness.
That was so sad.
Oh
That
my
was
goodness.
so sad
Yeah.
watching that man.
Yeah.
I've been here for 7 years and all I've done is lost. That is so freaking sad. This is a team that traded for one of the best quarterbacks in the league and got worse.
A first ballot Hall of Famer, by the way.
First ballot Hall of Famer, and they got worse. I mean, again, I said this yesterday. I am not, no, I don't think anyone's really blaming Russell Wilson for yesterday because
No.
he doesn't play defense, man. He did not. He is not the reason that
Yeah.
that you guys allowed 70 points. He is
70.
not the reason for that. Okay.
Yeah.
I
This is the
I
most
mean,
points in a game since 1966.
I forgot where it was. I think I saw a stat like last night that talked about Pat Surtain and said like, oh yeah, like he rarely gives up touchdowns. He really did blah blah blah. I saw him do it at least like twice yesterday.
Here's the thing. He wasn't on Tyreek though.
No, I don't think he was, but he was
He
on
was
chosen.
shadowing, right.
He was on
Chosen
chosen
Anderson. Yes.
Anderson, and
I know.
and he burnt him.
Yeah. But
I
I
mean,
mean, even though he should, I mean, Chosen only had one catch for 68 yards. That was the one play that you're talking about, the one big touchdown. But I mean, when the thing about corners giving up deep passing touchdowns, when you have a guy rush for 203 yards, when you have
two
Raheem
guys.
Mostert rush for, yeah,
Two-
Raheem Mostert do what he did, I mean, what
you
are
know,
you supposed to do?
do you understand how crazy that
Right,
is?
but defensively, that makes it so much harder to defend the pass
They
because
had
you have to come down so many times.
they each had 4 total touchdowns. Each they had 8 touchdowns
Yes, there were 10
between the two.
touchdowns in this
You
game.
know, you know how insane of a stat that is. I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever seen that before in my life, ever. I don't
yeah.
think I've ever seen that. That
No, no. I mean, well, yeah, we've never seen. We haven't, Joel. We haven't seen this many touchdowns since 1966. Were
that's
you alive in
insane.
1966?
I was about, oh my God,
You
negative
were about
33.
what? You were nothing.
Negative 33.
Negative 33 years old. I mean, this is bad. This is probably. I mean, shout out to Marvin Mims getting a big kick return to just like that was like Chris Paul, hitting a big three to cut the lead down to
All right.
42. But that was just an absolute embarrassment. Now, 726 total yards of offense for Miami, 10.2 yards of play.
Doesn't Tua already have like 1,000 yards passing?
He's up
Doesn't
there,
he?
yeah.
Yeah, he has to. Yeah.
He's up there. Tua he's at 1,024 yards. He's got 8
Yeah.
touchdowns and 2 interceptions and 121.9 quarterback rating. If you don't know what football is, that's pretty good. This is probably the most embarrassing loss from Denver, but here's my thing. Also, Vance Joseph did not get fired. How? How do you give up 70 points as a defensive coordinator and you don't and you keep your job?
I
And
I
you keep
saw
that's like working at ShopRite and having 100 people come through your store and you give everything out for free and they say keep your job.
how the hell do you keep your
How
job?
do you keep your job? I mean, I'm usually not one to call out for people's livelihoods, but at the end of the day, I mean, Vance Joseph is just one of those guys that has to go. He didn't do it last year defensively for this team. This year, definitely not. At some point, I think he will get a job somewhere else because I mean, I think that this team may go Rex Ryan in the offseason. But
Mhm.
if you're a defensive coordinator, you give up 70 points. What other job can you perform that poorly on a single day and keep your job?
At that point, it's like if I'm in that locker room, I don't want to hear anyone saying anything. I just want complete silence. I don't
Right.
want anyone. I don't want no one talking to me. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen to
70.
nobody. I'm just gonna sit here and just wait to go home. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you.
Nothing.
How does
Now,
that happen?
I want to get more positive here. Miami, they're awesome. This
But
Miami offense that we expected, they've exceeded expectations beyond belief. And they have the running game to back it up now. Tua looks phenomenal. This
right.
team should be a lock to win the division. Now, this is the Miami Dolphins we're talking about, so you never know. But this offense is just Tyreek Hill looks like he's 24 again. This Miami team and Mike McDaniel and everything. This team is phenomenal.
This
This
team
team
is
is just, I
insanely
think this
good.
team is better than we thought. I was saying this a few weeks ago before this, that seeing the Dolphins destroy Denver like this offensively, it didn't surprise me. Yes, 70 is shocking,
Yeah.
but the offensive dominance did not surprise me.
Yeah, honestly, like I'm looking when you watch their games, it's not even just like, oh yeah, their offense is really good. Tyreek Hill
No.
is open by like 15 yards.
Yeah.
There's no one around him. Like
It's like watching
these are
college football. This team.
they're wide open every single time Tua
Yeah.
throws on the ball.
It's
It's
just easy.
insane. It's
Offensive line's fine. They've got good running backs, and the defense is also pretty dang good.
Mike White, he excelled. I mean, he was like, "Oh my God, it's so easy. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so easy playing down here."
It's phenomenal for these guys. I mean, Miami is going to be a problem.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I mean, if you put up 70, you get to hold the crown of best offense in football for at least a week, I'd say.
Super Bowl contenders?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not even I don't think they will. But if it somehow gets to Miami, Kansas City in the AFC Championship, and that game might be in Miami at this rate, I mean, anything can happen,
I
right?
find it very I find it very hard to believe in the future that you tell me that a team scored 70
70
points
points
and didn't make the Super Bowl.
in the modern NFL, by the way.
At least did not make the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I
That
mean, don't expect them to back it up next week. Don't expect
Oh
them to go
no,
70.
I know.
I mean, don't expect them to go 70 again.
Anything could happen.
Now, I think that, when you look at it, you look how bad Jacksonville is.
Uh-huh.
You look at Baltimore. We're going to get to them in just a minute. Cincinnati. The AFC does not look good. Buffalo does not look that great. Buffalo looked really good this week, but we all know that they're probably, on their last legs. This is
Right.
a up-and-coming Miami team that has arrived. So their main competition is what? Kansas City, and that's it?
Yeah. I mean,
So
you would have thought that it would have been the Bengals, but they don't even look all that.
they don't look good. Joe Burrow's not healthy. He's got to sit. I think he needs some time.
By the time we're filming this, I mean they're gonna play in like I don't even know 3-4 hours, something like
Something
that.
like
I mean,
that. Yeah. I don't know if it's been announced if Joe Burrow's playing or not.
we gotta wait for tonight. Oh no, it hasn't. It really hasn't. I'm telling you right now, from the moment he tweaked his calf, and they get okay, I still think they made the right choice about giving him the contract. A lot of people are
For sure.
discrediting it. I think they still made the good choice.
Yeah.
If you get a team to the Super Bowl, you deserve that type of money anyway.
Right.
But one of the things that I'm looking at, especially with Cincinnati, is like, listen, our quarterback, the leader of the team, is not healthy. He
Right.
doesn't look healthy. He's not playing good. We know this is not the Joe Burrow that we're used to right now. I'm not saying call it quits, but I'm just saying prepare for the possibility that we might just have to honestly just not, I don't want to say tank the season, but
I mean, it's one game.
look at other options.
It's one game. I know 0-3 looks bad, but 0-3 isn't 0-17.
You're right.
You still have plenty of season left to go. And with the loss from Baltimore, that's embarrassing to Indianapolis. By the way, shout out to the Browns and Bills for winning by a lot of points. Okay, cool. Congratulations. I'm still not sold on either of you, but we'll move on. The Colts beat the Ravens in overtime, 22-19.
Minshew Mania.
Minshew Mania steps out the back of the end zone and still wins a football game. That's Minshew Mania right there with Anthony Richardson being out.
It's funny when they barely brought it up. Like they barely mentioned it.
Didn't even mention it. Oh, well, you won the game, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So that's interesting. I'm not sold on Indianapolis, obviously. I don't think they have it. I mean, I'm a Colts fan, so it doesn't matter to me. I kind of want, you're kind of in. I thought we were all in on the tank, everybody. I thought the tanks were rolling through, and then, maybe you get a star player later, you get whoever. No, this team is winning for some reason. And Gardner Minshew looks really good. They got it. I mean, the defense doesn't look as bad as it used to.
Wait, how about Zach Moss? Where the hell did he come from?
Yeah, Zach Moss is coming up. Zach Moss, 30 carries, 122 yards. They just gave him the ball. Michael Pittman made a phenomenal catch. This is a huge win for Indianapolis. I think it gives them a lot of momentum heading forward. Obviously, this season is this season, but if Jacksonville plays this bad, the Texans still got a lot of work to do. The Titans stink. If the Colts win the division, obviously they're not going to win the Super Bowl, I'd imagine, but this team at least has a shot.
I'm about to say, I think they have a shot at like the divisional round.
Right, they've got a chance.
I think they got a shot there.
Now, do you keep Minshew Mania in, or do you go back to AR?
No, you go back to AR the second he's
You have
good.
to, right? Because that's your future. That's your future right there. You have to go back to
Now,
him.
what was wrong with it? He got a concussion protocol, right? That's what it was.
Concussion. He has a concussion.
Now,
Very
what
much.
if this happens again?
That's
I'm
what I'm
just
saying. He's got
here's
to be
my
shut
thing.
down.
Even in the first week, like you saw like glimpse of it when he ran into the end zone. When first of all, he did not have to.
Right.
He did not. I
Game was
saw like
basically over.
in the fourth quarter, like he did not have to run into the end zone, and then it's like he's banging into the defenders, and it's just like, dude, like, don't get me wrong, you love to see it, but at the
Right.
same time, dude, you are being way too aggressive.
Right.
Like,
You're supposed to be my quarterback for the next 15
calm it
years.
down a tad, just
Right.
a tad, or else we might just be seeing another potential Tua situation, and I'm not
Yes.
joking about that.
No, not at all. I mean, you want to. I
Yeah,
mean, obviously, it's awesome to see Tua playing that well, as he is now, that he was able to come back from everything. But if you see, I mean, Anthony Richardson had been in concussion protocol once. He's got a concussion now. This is the second time he was in protocol because that he did get checked out for the first one. You don't want to
right.
see your potential starter for the next 15 years. I mean, it's a lot of time to get hit in the head a lot, especially as a quarterback. You don't want to see that at all.
Mhm.
So Anthony Richardson, I mean, again, it's good for a young player to learn. And also Tua, going back to Tua, he learned how to fall properly because that was his issue. When
Right.
he would get sacked, he would fall and he would land on his head. That was mostly why he suffered the concussions that he did. So, for quarterbacks learning how to protect their bodies, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of people that want to tell these quarterbacks and teach these quarterbacks how to protect their bodies.
You can't mess around with this, man. You just
Not at all.
can't.
I mean, it's a really serious thing for these players. And we're seeing a lot of quarterback now with more mobility from these quarterbacks. These guys want to make plays every time they drop back. So for Anthony Richardson, yes, I want to see you fight. I want to see you fight to the last whistle. But at some point, you got to do it with your arm if you're going to fight. So again, the Colts, they look good. Got to hope Anthony Richardson stays healthy. Baltimore, I don't know, man. I think they passed up on a field goal from 60 yards to Justin Tucker. At that point, you got to try it. He had missed from 60. You got to try it. It's Justin Tucker. He's done it before. I don't know why you didn't trust Justin Tucker in that moment. Maybe he didn't want to go out there. I don't know. But Baltimore, I'm not too worried about them. I think they're still a very dynamic offense. I think they're fine. But definitely an embarrassing loss for that team right there, for Indianapolis to come out and beat you. But we'll see. We'll see where they go. We also have the good old Patriots and the Jets. The Jets, man, disappointment beyond belief. Zach Wilson, yes, the weather, sure, the weather, whatever the weather storm. I don't care.
It's just so sad to watch, man. It's just
Yeah,
so sad.
this
I'm
is a
not even a
team that
Jets fan. We're not Jets fans, but that's
not at
just so
all.
sad to watch.
I penned this Jets team to win the Super Bowl, but Dalvin Cook looks terrible. Pharaoh Brown just sauce on sauce, and I just don't get it. I really don't get it, Joel.
It's
I mean,
sad,
obviously losing
man.
your quarterback, morality, everything, morale is just gone. But this Jets team just doesn't have life at all. It's done. The Jets are back to being the Jets.
I
Zach
mean,
Wilson's done.
I've heard like the term like, we're cursed. I've heard that
Yeah.
it was just, it's the same old Jets. I've heard this over and over again, listening to the radio, listening to
Yes.
people. And I'm just like, I don't understand how, I mean, the Achilles thing, I can get over it because it's like, okay, what he's a little older up there. Okay, he got hurt. Everyone
39
gets
years
hurt.
old. Yeah.
Okay, like you're mad, you're really pissed off, but it's like, okay, I can deal with it. It's not that big of a deal. I mean,
Right.
it is a big deal, but like it's not like let's end it
You
all.
can
You know
come
what I mean?
back.
You
Right.
can
Or
come
like
back, right?
something. Yeah. There's usually a
He's
silver lining somewhere.
But then it's like, okay, well, hold on. This team is still good.
Yes.
They could still do something. We just have to hope that Zach Wilson has done anything. Oh my God, he looks worse. He
Yeah.
looks actually worse. I don't think I've seen a quarterback that he looks afraid to throw the ball.
Yeah.
He looks afraid. I'm telling you, I've seen this guy. I mean, what was it? I think like late in the fourth quarter, he had a throw to Garrett Wilson that went for like 25 yards, something. His best throw that he had like for these past two games. But it was like even that, it's like Garrett Wilson had to yell it at him,
Right.
yell at him to give me the ball. Like I do not care If it gets intercepted, I don't care. Just throw it my direction, man. Just at least throw it at me. Oh my
Right.
God.
At
Show me
least give
that
it a
you are at
shot.
least show me that you're at least trying. Enough with these, 1 yard screen passes. Oh my, like it's just insane. And it's like, I saw a clip yesterday of Zach Wilson getting sacked by literally nothing.
Oh, he just went
Literally.
down. Yeah, he just went
He
down.
just went
He's
he
afraid to
like
get hit. He's
the
afraid to
pot
throw the football. He's afraid to do anything.
the pocket was collapsing and a Bills player, he literally just like grazed his shoulder
Yeah.
and Zach Wilson rolled and went down. And they were like, wait, what just happened?
In his head,
Like,
he's like, I got to protect myself. I'm just going to go down. But he very easily could have escaped out of that. But
he absolutely
yeah,
could have escaped that. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if
everything.
it's everything. It's
It's
everything,
the
man.
ghost that Sam Darnold we're seeing may not just be a fabrication. They may just be in New York somehow, some way. I don't get it.
How how
Also,
far
yeah,
how far do you think that these Jets players will go with this until like you start seeing some trade requests?
I don't know, man. It depends who it is. I mean, because nobody's playing well, right? It's not like, oh, I'm playing well, get me out of here. Everyone's just playing horribly. And who do you put? I mean, obviously the injury is the injury with Aaron Rodgers, but how much of this goes on Salah? I mean, the Jets have lost to the Patriots 15 times in a row now. It's something like that. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
bad. Also, congratulations, the Patriots got to win. I still don't care. I'm not buying the
Yeah.
Patriots. You beat the Jets, whatever. You got to beat somebody good. Mac Jones won a football game. Congratulations. But these Jets, they're obviously the story. They're done. They're not
Yeah.
going anywhere. So yeah, I can't wait to see them play Miami. That's going to be maybe another 70-point barrage, and we shall see. But shout out to the Jets for being the Jets that we know they are. But what
That's
might be worse, Joel, it might be worse. The Bears, Chicago, Kansas
that's
City. I mean, when your team is just becoming the team that you say, in high
what a
school,
dumpster fire, man.
I always knew there were some football players in high school, they had girlfriends and whatnot, even at college level. And they always invite their girlfriends out to the game against that school from, you don't know where they're really from. And they stink, right? The FCS school, the team from, New Jersey, team from, let's shout out to Spotswood. You might go play Spotswood.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm still shouting them out. That's being bad. But, the Chicago Bears have become that FCS team, have become that, oh, go watch me play against these guys because I'm going to go catch a touchdown. Shout out to Taylor Swift. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need it that much on my timeline, but I do find it funny. We didn't learn anything about the Chiefs. The Chiefs have always been that.
They've always been that.
Chicago and Justin Fields. What? Just what, Joel? Just what?
It's very similar to like a lot of these other situations that we've talked about where it's like you think, they signed Tremaine Edmonds.
Right.
They signed DJ Moore. Oh, they traded for DJ Moore.
They
mistake.
Traded out. They traded out and said, okay, let's go get this guy a receiver.
They acquired talent. They acquired some serious talent where it's like, oh my God, like look at Chicago. Look what they're doing. Look what they're cooking up over there. That's
Do you
insane.
count Chase Claypool as serious talent, Joel?
Well, okay, that wasn't this offseason. That was this past.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not say. I did not say Chase Claypool. But
he was their third leading receiver, so that's gotta say something about that.
I don't think I've seen a quarterback like this where it comes to a point where it's like, we talked about how bad Zach Wilson is being. Justin Fields actually has talent.
Oh yeah.
We saw it last year. This guy was not messing around. This guy was actually like they said that there's only been like, 3 1,000-yard rushing quarterbacks. We all know who the 3 are. Vic, Lamar, now Fields. And okay, another thing is blaming your coaches, whether or not he is right or wrong. You could be on either side of the argument. Saying, exactly. Oh, he's totally right, he's totally wrong, whatever. I don't agree with saying that to the media. I don't agree with it.
Right, I agree. I understand the frustration. I understand feeling the way you feel, but yeah, again, you gotta find a way.
Especially seeing the way that you have been playing, I highly doubt that your coaches are telling you to just stay in the pocket, don't throw, and take the sack. Or see a wide open target.
We all know the picture.
We all saw the picture. We all saw it. And just not even attempt to look at their direction. I highly doubt your coaches are telling you to do that.
Right. They're not.
Oh my God. Like, it's like Zach Wilson's mistakes, like, yeah, they're bad. Yeah, it's very bad. Justin Fields are very bad. Justin Fields
Yes.
is like, dude, like you should not be acting like this at all. What?
Now here's my issue, Joel. What do you do? Right?
I
Because
don't think
just
there's
getting rid of Justin Fields, let's say they wanted to move on. Let's say they get they might get the number one pick and get a chance of Caleb Williams.
don't forget they almost did it this past offseason. They
Right. They
almost
almost
did.
took Bryce Young.
They were considering it.
Yeah, but they traded. They got assets. I liked the move because I'm not huge on Bryce Young. He's still. I mean, that Panthers offensive line is a failure. I'm going to talk about them later. But my thing is, this team clearly Justin Fields is part of the problem, but he's only
Right.
one cog in the machine that needs to be unrusted
He's a
because
pretty
this
big cog,
entire
though.
team is just. I mean, it's the quarterback, right?
Right.
But I think they're fine at running back. At receiver, they need more depth. And defensively, I mean, you gave up this many points, right? So they're not there. The offensive line needs work. So I would rather it's the same logic with Jordan Love. I'd rather put a quarterback in a better situation than just draft another one, hoping he works, and then just repeating the cycle the Bears have been repeating for 30 plus years now.
Right.
Their best quarterback in their history is Jim McMahon, who's a dog. But other than that, and Jay Cutler, the Bears just have not figured out the quarterback position. So it's just been a dumpster fire in Chicago. And the team that we thought was going to be a dumpster fire in the Arizona Cardinals now actually look good after defeating Dallas. They had the leg up on the New York Giants, and they just went and took down Dallas. Josh Dobbs doesn't look horrendous.
I will say, like, fully no biased or anything like that.
Yep.
The Arizona Cardinals should be 3-0. I think they should be 3-0. They should not have lost to the Giants. I mean, I'm happy they lost, but like,
of course you are.
but
Yes.
they should not have lost that game last week. Number one.
No.
Number two, Washington. That game came down to the wire.
Right.
A lot of people forgot about that, and it's like, and a big part of these success that Arizona has been getting is the defensive mind of Jonathan Gannon. And a lot of people have been giving this guy so much crap. They've been giving him so much crap. And it's just like, you haven't even give him a chance. At least just see the team that's out on the field. I mean, I'm seeing guys on Arizona that I forgot his name, number 13. He's a corner named Clark, I want to say. I saw this man. I see some guys playing in Arizona that I've never even heard of. He's like a 6th-round rookie that they drafted.
David Clark, number 33. I don't think corners were 13. Anyway,
he's
seen the 13 corner.
Yeah, there's a 13 corner.
33. Clark is 33.
I swear. No, his name.
As I'm looking at the defense stats on Google, I don't see any 13 corner. So I think you may be thinking of 33.
I saw him. He wears 13.
Okay, I'll do some research. You keep going.
Go ahead. But his name. Yeah, he's a 6th-round rookie out of like Louisville. Where's number 13?
Clark.
Clark. What did I say?
Okay, you said Oh man, we're going down the rabbit hole now.
I'm very curious because I'm very.
It was another C. Oh man. We're moving, Joel.
It is. I understand.
You had the right player. Also, there's another player that wore 33 with a name that Clark. We had Clark, and we had Clark. There's two Clarks.
There's two Clark. Okay, we did not know that.
There's two Clarks.
Look, this just proves that we do not know a lot of these players on this team.
Okay, are you expecting everybody to know the corners on Arizona? Okay, there we go.
But at the same time, the point I'm trying to make is that this defense has been very good. This defense has been and we just saw that against Dallas,
right?
The Dallas Cowboys, who blew out the New York Giants, who blew out the New York Jets. Now, again, it's the New York teams, but at the same time, you should not be losing to the Arizona Cardinals, a team who everyone's been saying is trying to tank. They don't have their starting quarterback. They got a quarterback who they just traded for, like, what, a month ago?
But he's only been there a month, but 17 for 21.
He barely knows any of his teammates. He barely knows any of his teammates.
Exactly.
And he's just, oh my God, like, Arizona, I think, is going to be one of those teams that I wouldn't go as far as to say they're going to make like the playoffs or anything, but they've been like a pleasant surprise where it's like, I did not think they were going to be this good.
Right.
I thought they were going to be much worse than this, but Dallas, on the other hand, I mean, what happens here? This is what I'm very curious about, more on the Dallas side, because I mean, they couldn't do a lot with Arizona. CD Lamb had a very quiet game, I thought, at least for
He
me.
did, yes.
I
He
I
did.
thought he had a very quiet game. Um, I think Tony Pollard, did he? I know he. I'm pretty sure he had a touchdown. I'm pretty
He
sure he
did not have
did.
a touchdown from what
Oh,
I
he
see.
didn't. There were
23 carries, 123 yards. Rico Dowdle had that touchdown, actually.
that
Shout
was
out
who
to
it
Rico
was.
Dowdle,
Okay, I got confused there,
who
but
does look solid. It is 3
yeah, he
receptions.
does. He's another one that looks solid.
He had a few
But
carries. He looks solid.
Dallas is just one of those teams where it's like you expect a lot from them,
Right.
being like how they just start off on such a hot streak, and then it's like you just got smacked in the mouth by the Arizona Cardinals, a team that's, not gonna be competing for much,
Of course. But every good team, every great team has these games. Like, I'm not expecting Dallas to just wipe the floor with everybody. There's always this kind of game that punches a team like this in the mouth. How they respond, that's what we wait for, right? Because they've got the Patriots, the 49ers, and the Chargers coming up in the next 3 games. They got to go out and win those games probably, or at least 2 out of 3 of those games, because the Niners are the Niners. But if they continue to lose, like let's say they lose to the Patriots, then we got to sound the alarms. But if they go out, they beat the Patriots, they play well against the 49ers, they beat the Chargers, then it's like, okay, they needed to get humbled a little bit. They felt like they were on top of the world because the conversation was, are the Jets really bad? Or are the Cowboys just really good? Are the Giants really bad? Or are the Cowboys really good? Now we just don't know because, again, it's week 3. It's not even October. I haven't even bought my pumpkins yet. But we got to see how they respond, these Dallas
Let me
Cowboys.
let me ask you this though. I don't even know if
Right.
they're on their schedule or not, but let's just say the Broncos beat the Cowboys. What would be your reaction to that?
Embarrassment. It depends the situation, right? Was it a
Or
crazy
or
play
the
at the end?
Bears. The Bears.
Chicago, yeah. I mean, if they lose to, if they have another one of these losses, then I'm going to sit there and go, wow, this team might actually just be a disappointment.
That's
But
a fraudulent
yeah,
team right
I mean,
there.
also, if let's say they lose 4 games and 2 of those losses are Arizona and Denver, I'm not really going to care that much, right? Because it just depends on their total record.
I get it.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
I think you should, obviously, you got to wake up now. You got to say, okay, we still got work to do. We're not going to beat teams 40-0 every game. But we'll see. I mean, 16 points is obviously not enough to beat any team. They wouldn't have beat the Raiders against the Steelers. How much do you care about that game?
Not much.
Not much, right?
Not
Because Steelers Raiders, obviously, they try to when they're marketing it as a rivalry game.
It's
that was
not.
the coverage. It is.
Oh
It
my
is.
God.
It's historically it is, but they don't care right now.
Yeah, not
Fans
really.
kind of care. Also, shout out to Pittsburgh fans for absolutely raiding the Raiders Stadium.
Right? You saw that. You saw
was
all
really
those terrible
bad.
towels going at
Goodness,
it.
embarrassment. I mean, Steeler fan always travels well, but embarrassment in Las Vegas. You build Allegiant Stadium and you can't fill the place with your fans in the silver and black. That's what happens when you make people from Oakland have to travel all the way to Las Vegas, and that does not really work out a lot of the time. So we'll see how long they're in Vegas anyway. But that's for another day. That's for another discussion. We've got a bigger discussion. We're going to move on and kind of go a little bit more retrospective the past 3 weeks. There are players that surprise you. There are players that disappoint you. And we both got one, just one. Keep it light because we got Jonathan Taylor maybe to talk about if we get to it. I'm going to start with one player that surprised me, and then I'm going to go to you, Joel.
Right.
Player that surprised me, and we're going to watch him tonight. And if this may backfire, this may go wrong on my end, but I have been pleasantly surprised by Baker Mayfield. Okay, I know back when we were on,
I get it.
I talked, I defended him until my dying breath. And eventually I was saying, okay, I guess I can finally take a step back, right? Baker Mayfield looks like Baker Mayfield again. His shoulder looks good. He has put up pretty good numbers, Baker Mayfield. I mean, 2 games, 317 yards against Chicago. Now, again, that's Chicago. Okay, whatever. But then he went on the road in Minnesota. This team went on the road in Minnesota before that, the week before. And he ended up throwing 2 touchdowns. The completion percentage was 61%. It wasn't phenomenal, but he did enough to win the game. And then again, against that Chicago team, he looked pretty good. He's got a big test against Philadelphia, but the way that he's been able to make good throws, the way that he's been able to escape and actually run with the ball as well, he's been a very physical, hard-running quarterback. I'm not saying that this Bucs team is going to make the playoffs and everything. I mean, they might based on how this division's gone, but Baker Mayfield looks like a solid NFL quarterback. He's not, Mahomes. He's not any of that. But there was a moment where Baker Mayfield, it was a threat that he would not be in the National Football League. And now he's coming out and he's had a really good 2-game stretch. Again, got to see how he performs against Philly. but I've seen an accurate thrower of the football. I've seen a confident thrower of the football, and I've seen a good shoulder. And he's got weapons. And the offensive line obviously is working right now. And Rashad White's good. This Bucs offense looks really good. I have been pleasantly surprised with Baker Mayfield, and I think that they've got a shot against Philly tonight. And we'll see. And this could backfire, but they've got a shot. I'm not saying they're going to win the game, but Baker Mayfield looks like a very serviceable NFL quarterback, and I could see him being a journeyman for the next 10 years.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I like that pick a lot. I'm gonna go. I mean, I understand we already talked about him, but as you were talking, it's like I was trying to think of another name to bring up, just someone we haven't talked about. But it's like, at least for me, I find it hard not to bring up CJ Stroud. I find it hard just not to bring him up.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at especially the offensive weapons that Houston has. It's not all. I mean, they're good. I wouldn't say they're anything crazy.
Not at all.
Like, I don't think anyone thought Tank Dell was going to be anywhere to where he is now. I don't think anyone thought that Nico Collins was going to be having, tremendous games like he did like just last week.
Right.
I don't think that anyone believed that guys like, Brevlin Jordan, who went out yesterday and he was like, listen, CJ Stroud's our guy. He's our guy. Like, I think it was more so like a support thing rather than shade on Bryce Young, where he's saying like, listen, we chose the right guy. We wanted CJ Stroud. We got CJ Stroud. That's our guy right there. And it's like, I mean, I especially, you don't see this too much, but I especially like it when rookie quarterbacks, they immediately get the captain patch on their jerseys.
I like that a lot. Yeah. It says a lot
I
about
like
them.
that. Because it's like, I think the first time I saw that was with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time I ever really saw that. I was like, wow, a rookie can get captain? What? Yeah. That's I never saw that. And it's like, and then I see CJ Stroud getting it, and it's like, oh no, this guy, he's the top dog there. He is literally the top dog there. That is a rookie that I don't think you can haze. I don't think that's a rookie that you can just like, try to keep him humble. This guy, and there was just so many red flags going on with CJ Stroud about like, oh, he did not do well in like a quarterback test that they had amongst all the quarterbacks. He didn't do too well. He talked about how he didn't really like, anything that didn't have to do with football. He didn't like. He didn't want to deal with tests. It didn't seem like to a lot of scouts that CJ Stroud was exactly that smart. It didn't seem like it was. So it's like, oh, I don't know about CJ Stroud. I don't know about this or something. Looking at him, he has the body of a starting quarterback. I look at him like, I saw him yesterday. I'm like, he looks a lot bigger than I thought he was. He looks a lot stronger. He looks like he can throw the deep ball that Tank Dell with ease, like it's nothing. And I'm like, and not to mention the offensive line, not the best offensive line. He's been holding up all right.
Right.
He's been okay. That is someone I am definitely like pleasantly surprised with, where it's like, I'm saying, as I said before, I didn't think he was going to be all that. Right now, it's like he is that guy. Definitely is.
No, I mean, we got to see how the rest of the season goes, but he's looking really good right now.
Right.
For my disappointment, I'm going to pick multiple people. Okay. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers offensive line and also Bryce Young through these first two games, because this team, I mean, obviously, again, they got the number one pick. They had to get the number one pick for a reason. They need their quarterback, right? Bryce Young gets hurt, whatever. Andy Dalton throws the ball 58 times for some reason. This game against Seattle that we didn't really talk about a little bit, but I mean, the Panthers lost. What else is new? That offensive line cannot help Bryce Young, and Bryce Young, as mobile as he is, as good as his escapability is, I love his elusiveness. I love how calm he is back there. But that game against the Saints, once he realized, wow, I'm going to be facing pressure every time, that calmness that we saw in the preseason, that calmness we saw in week one, that we were saying, wow, this guy looks like Drew Brees already, it's gone. It's gone. His confidence is shot because, wow, I'm getting rushed every time. This Carolina Panthers team, it's the same reason that I don't like, you look at the Justin Fields situation, look at all the other situations. If you don't give a quarterback an offensive line, a lot of these guys come in college. He had Alabama's offensive line. This guy's getting so much time to throw every single time. When you take a quarterback, Baker Mayfield, and put him against that Browns offensive line early on, when you take so many number one pick quarterbacks and give them horrible offensive lines as rookies, you take them out of what they're used to. They're used to just being able to drop back and take a snap and throw the football. And if you don't build an offensive line and then get your quarterback by trading up or whatever, your quarterback is not going to succeed 90% of the time. So this team needed it. They tried to rush a rebuild and get a quarterback that they thought was a guy. And I think Bryce Young can be a guy, but you've got to help him out offensively on that offensive line. I mean, they've been so disappointing, even in the run game. That they get Miles Sanders, he hasn't done much. So
I think Carolina was just one of those teams that just thought, oh, if we just add a bunch of these gadget guys,
right? But no,
Bryce Young will figure it out. You know what I mean? Like getting Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
First of all, at least for me, I thought they overpaid for a 30-plus-year-old receiver. But anyway, they get DJ Chark, they get Hayden Hurst, they got drafted Jonathan Mingo, who
right.
he got hurt yesterday, and it's like, okay, you got some weapons. I understand what you're trying to do. I get it. I understand you want to make things a little easier for Bryce Young, but as you pointed out too, you forgot one thing: the offensive line is crap. It's
Stinks.
What else do you call it? It's crap.
Are they going to trade for Mekhi Becton? Like, what's going to happen? They have to build it. They have to build it.
Ike Ekwonu, he's like, I don't even know if he's really healthy. And even when he was, he didn't look all that. Like, not really.
Looks okay.
Yeah, he looks okay. Yeah.
If that's your best offensive lineman,
good luck.
He's good. He's a good piece. He's a good piece to have on most offensive lines. But that's like your lead offensive lineman. I don't know. But your disappointment, Joel.
Oh, man. When we're talking about disappointments itself, I would say I'm disappointed with the Jets themselves.
For sure.
The Jets are one that I would definitely say by far. It's just something that's sad to watch, mainly because I think it's because of Hard Knocks. I think that's what it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you saw how this team was. Everyone was in unison. And it's like, the head of the snake, the head of the team, the Aaron Rodgers is now gone, and everyone looks lost. Right. Everybody just looks lost. Everyone, like, they're just pointing to Zach to be like this leader that he just cannot be.
And now he's a scapegoat.
And now he's a scapegoat, where I feel like I can't help but think that I feel like he's being done a little dirty. And I'll explain why.
Right. No, I agree.
One of the things that I saw, especially, I don't know if it was this morning or yesterday, but the rumors were coming around that Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan has already denied the claims. But anyway, it seems that they were at least a little interested in joining the Jets.
Right. It was probably their agents reaching out, but yeah.
That's what I probably think it was. That's what maybe, but it seemed like they were reaching out to the Jets saying, hey, do you want to? No. Zach's our guy. Zach's our guy. Zach is the quarterback that gives us the best chance to win. Really? And here's my thing. Cause like at first it's like, okay, I understand from the connection aspect. I understand from the emotional aspect. Zach Wilson has been with this locker room for, 3 years now. It's like, okay, if anyone has a chance at getting us wins, it's Zach Wilson. I'm telling you right now, that is a load of crap when you see what Joshua Dobbs is doing in Arizona after being there, a month?
Just about.
I kid you not. It does not take that long as you think it does for a quarterback to take over a team. Yeah. Any quarterback. You could, I don't know who you go out and get. I don't know if Carson Wentz or trading for a Jameis Winston. I don't know if any of those guys are the answer. I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. I don't. But it's just really sad to see how a team who you were saying a few weeks ago, Super Bowl contenders, this team is going to the Super Bowl.
And that wasn't outlandish to say that.
At the time, no, it was not. And now it's like, well, damn, what do we do? What do the Jets do? Because it's like there's no direction. There's nowhere to go. Do you tank and get a top pick? Right. Do you even have your top pick? It's like there's so much to think about. There's so much to think about now, and it's like, how do you even go about this season knowing? And now next week, what? They got the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, they're not winning that game.
What are you gonna do? What's happening?
Might be another 70 burger. Yeah.
It's that has to be one of the biggest disappointments I have seen so far this year,
Yeah, it's
by
up
far.
there. It's up there, and there's not much you can really do to fix it. Right? It's just kind of done, and the Jets are trying to hold on to something that isn't there anymore, and it's just really sad to watch. What else is really sad to watch is people trying to get trade offers for Jonathan Taylor. We're going to move on to that, talk about disappointments. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Hard transition. Zoom only gives us so much time, everybody.
It's all right.
Yeah. So ESPN put out some hypothetical trades for Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts, who it
Let
seems
me hear
that
these.
a trade may be possible. I'm just going to run through them pretty quickly. I don't want to hang on this too long.
Go
So
ahead.
one trade hypothetical was Najee Harris and a 2024 fourth round pick. The Steelers get Jonathan Taylor.
Stupid.
The Colts get a 2024 second round pick, and the Cleveland Browns get Jonathan Taylor.
Stupid.
This is, if you want to talk about stupid, the Kansas City Chiefs trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire and 2024 and 2025 third round picks. I don't mind the picks there, but I mean, I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire solves any issues you have. Zach Moss looks good.
That makes no sense for the Colts at all. But go on.
Yeah. The Dolphins get Jonathan Taylor, and the Colts get a 2024 second round pick that could become a first round pick, probably based on snaps or whatnot.
I don't see the Dolphins doing that move.
I don't either. And the Colts.
I don't see
Waddle.
either.
So
yeah, I don't really see either team doing that move.
The Colts value Jonathan Taylor much higher than any of these trades because at his best, Jonathan Taylor is a top 3 running back in football.
But they don't value him enough to pay him.
It doesn't make any sense. I wish things made more sense. I wish things made more sense in football, Joel. Jim Irsay, can you just pay him? Just pay him. I beg of you. I will do whatever you need me to do. I don't care. I'm not asking you to give me money while you're on your golf cart like that other Colts fan did, and you would give it to me if I asked you to. However, I'm asking you one thing. Pay Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if it's greed. I don't know if it's you seeing the Saquon situation. Give the guy the contract. He is the Indianapolis Colts right now. I'm done with Jonathan Taylor. That's fine. Goodbye. Sign him. Or if he doesn't want to be there, get a first round pick. Get your value or something.
You gotta
just do something. Don't let him just sit there and force him to go on some injured list he doesn't need to be on.
One of the things I do feel, I mean, again, I don't know if the Colts are gonna want to do this, but I feel like the only team that you can really trade him to is a contender.
Yeah, and there's only so many right now.
It has to be a contender. And would that team be Philly?
Maybe.
Do
they have the money for that? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing too. You gotta move some money around because it's like, can you afford a Jonathan Taylor?
Other teams got Kansas City can't afford him.
No, they can't.
Especially with the Chris Jones, they had to figure out the Chris Jones situation. They were gonna go get JT.
You got your own money problems. You got to be worrying about.
Yeah, they are all in. So I don't know. I think the Colts are just gonna hang on to him, and if they end up hanging on to him and then get nothing back for him, I'll be very mad. But I just don't know how you handle a guy that walked in the room, became your franchise, and now you're just kind of throwing him to the curb. How does that make Anthony Richardson feel? How does that make Michael Pittman feel?
Does Jonathan Taylor play a snap this year for the Colts?
I think he does because he kind of has to at this point. I mean, if he wants any trade value, he kind of has to at this point. If he's still hurt, he's still hurt. But I think he does end up playing for the Indianapolis Colts, especially if they end up winning another game or two, and they might actually have a mathematical shot.
Right.
You give this team Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson's really mobile. I want to see that backfield happen. I want to see that happen. I want to see that duo. So I think Jonathan Taylor will give it a shot. And then if he rushes for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns, then his trade value might go up. He goes to Philly, he wins a Super Bowl. So we'll see with Jonathan Taylor. But Joel, do you have anything else left to add on our NFL extravaganza?
I just hope it doesn't get any worse for the Jets and the Bears.
But
it will.
Exactly.
It will.
So, we'll see. Things will get worse for some teams. Things will get better for others. It just depends how wrong we are in the end. But that will do it for this longer episode of Break Panel Sports. I've been John, joined alongside Joel. We actually got to hop on a little call and talk about some ball. Always
good
great.
Meeting.
Make sure to lock into the TikToks. Yeah, good meeting. Make sure to lock into the TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, as well as if you're on here, if you're on Spotify, go check out the other thing. You know how this works. Linktree's a thing. Thank you so much for watching, listening, however you consume this podcast. It's always been fun and always will be. But John joined alongside Joel. It's been the NFL Slate. We'll see you another time.
Later.